9440.
4405.
944405.
All right, welcome back, crime fighters, for another edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted, where you get to help us lock up the bad guys. I'm Chris Wright, along with Calhoun County Sheriff Matthew Wade. Good to see you, Sheriff.
It's always good to be on the show, Chris.
Now, we've been talking for the last several weeks about how fortunate we've been at the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office that the COVID-19 coronavirus has not affected directly the Sheriff's Office yet, but that's no longer true, I understand.
That's no longer true, unfortunately. We had a deputy that went to church. He goes to church in Birmingham. He thinks that's where he got it. He went to church last Sunday, and then he had some training in Birmingham Monday and Tuesday, and he started feeling ill, and on Wednesday he went to the doctor, so he never actually came to the Sheriff's Office or worked feeling ill, and on Friday he tested positive. Unfortunately, we got the news this morning that a second deputy that was with him during that training has tested positive. So both of those are patrol deputies. We're working to find out the contacts that they had, the other deputy had during he worked Monday and Tuesday of last week. So we're finding out those contacts to let those people know. But these are patrol deputies. It's not in the jail, but we do have a couple of corrections officers that are self-quarantined pending test results. So it's making its rounds. It's a virus. We still have no inmates that's tested positive. We have tested some inmates. We're doing everything that we know to do. We're handing out masks to every inmate in the facility. If you come to jail, we give you a mask. We're testing we're doing a medical screening on all the inmates that are brought to us. Really working hard to keep the place disinfected and cleaned. Doing all that we know to do. And so from March to now, we've been fortunate. We've worked hard. It is a virus. It can get into the jail at some point a million different ways. So.
Well, how are those two deputies at this point?
They're both recovering at home, and both are, said it feels like they got the flu, but they're managing well. They're not critically ill or anything like that. They just don't feel well, and they're recovering at home, and we hope it stays that way. And we'll keep working to make sure they're all right and to take care of the citizens of Calhoun County. It's definitely something different in our lives since March, and just need to make sure that we all take personal responsibility. There's no telling who you'll come in contact with, whether it's a deputy sheriff or somebody at the grocery store or whatever. You just need to do the measures you need to do to take care of yourself. Social distance, wear a mask, wash your hands, don't touch your eyes or nose, and do the best you can. But it is a virus. There's no magic fix to it. If there was, we'd do it. So.
Yep. All right, well, let's talk about what our viewers have done for us this week.
5 arrests brings our count up to 4,587 people put in jail, all because you were willing to help us. We need you. Thank you for your help.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the first half of this week's lineup. See if you can help us find somebody here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Many hotels, coffee shops, airports, and other places offer free Wi-Fi hotspots. They're convenient. Unfortunately, they often aren't secure. That could make it easy for someone else to access your online accounts or steal your personal information. So, what can you do to reduce your risk? Encryption is the key to keeping your information secure online. When information is encrypted, it's scrambled into a code so others can't get it. How can you be sure your information is encrypted? 2 ways. 1. Use a secure network to access the internet. Don't assume that a public Wi-Fi network uses encryption. In fact, most don't. You can only be sure that a network uses effective encryption if it asks you to provide a WPA or WPA2 password. If you aren't sure, it's best to assume the network is not secure. The second way to protect your information is to send it through a secure website. A secure site will encrypt your information, even if the network doesn't. If the web address starts with HTTPS, then your information is encrypted before it's sent. The S stands for secure. Look for HTTPS on every page you visit, not just when you log in. If you use an unsecured Wi-Fi network to log into an unencrypted website, strangers using that network can hijack your account and steal your private documents, contacts, family photos, even your username and password. If that happens, an imposter could use your email or social networking account to pretend to be you and scam people you care about. Or a hacker could use your password from one website to try to log into a different account and access your personal or financial information. Here are some steps you can take to protect yourself when you use a public Wi-Fi hotspot. Only log in or enter personal information on secure sites that use encryption. Again, look for a web address that begins with HTTPS. Don't use the same username and password for different sites. It could give someone who gains access to one of your accounts access to many of your accounts. Never email financial information, including credit card, social security, and checking account numbers, even if the network and website are secure. Don't stay permanently signed in to accounts. When you've finished using a site, log out. The bottom line, secure Wi-Fi hotspots require a password. Secure websites start with HTTPS. Remember, it's easy to find trusted information about computer security. Just visit onguardonline.gov, the federal government site to help you be safe, secure, and responsible online.
All right, here we go with the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. If you have information, please call the Sheriff's Office at 256-236-6600. First up is Jimmy Huff of Oxford, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for distribution of a controlled substance. Brandon Coleman of Chicago, Illinois, wanted in Calhoun County for bond revocation, attempted murder, and escape first degree. Felicia Pope of Delta is wanted on a failure to appear warrant for possession of a controlled substance and theft of property fourth degree. Anthony Kendrick of Anniston wanted on a probation violation for assault first degree. Cheryl Foshee of Oxford wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. Jonathan Allen of Talladega wanted on bond revocation for possession of controlled substance and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. Again, if you have information, please call the Sheriff's Office, 256-236-6600. All right, we'll have the second half of this week's lineup coming up in just a few minutes. Sheriff, we were talking about how we now have a couple of confirmed cases in the Sheriff's Office, a couple of deputies that have been confirmed with COVID-19, and they're recuperating at home, and so far things don't look great, but they don't look horrible either for them.
That's right.
Okay. The governor has now extended our Safer at Home order.
You know, she just this morning at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, last day of June, she held a news conference, and you know, we all have concerns. We see cases are rising all across the country, especially in Florida and Alabama. So everybody has concerns with that. And you know, when we first started doing this, there's a lot of debate about it. But the main reason for all of these stay-at-home orders was so that the hospitals didn't become incapable of taking care of the number of people who got sick. So that's still a big concern, is that we don't overwhelm hospitals with more patients they can handle for the COVID. So I think right now the hospitals are reporting a lot higher numbers, but they're still managing those. You know, there's a lot of debate going back and forth about different measures, that it's not as deadly or is as deadly. You know, who knows? It's a virus. All I know is we need to try to take care of each other and do what we need to do to not overwhelm our health system.
The data does clearly show that at the very least we slowed things down for a little while. We didn't get that immediate peak as bad as it could have been. So at the very least we've bought ourselves a little bit more time for the medical community to begin to understand the virus and how it affects the body a little bit better, so they're a little bit better prepared for the patients that come to them. The equipment, we've had a little bit more time for them to get the equipment that they need.
A little more time for the manufacturers of PPE to catch up to the demand as well.
So we have I think it's very safe to say that we have already saved lives by the actions that we have taken.
I agree with that. You know, there's a lot of debate back and forth because it affects, you know, people in many different ways, financially, with their health, lives. I mean, it's a multifaceted thing that happens, and everybody's going to have a different approach of how they're personally affected. But you know, the main thing is that in America, with everything that's going on, we need to show kindness and love to our neighbors and try to help people in need. And by doing that, I think we'll overcome this. So, you know, these numbers are getting higher. One thing that I would like to say, you know, you get the total number, like Calhoun County, I think it's around 250 now. You go, oh my gosh, 250 people have the COVID-19, and well, that's since we started keeping track in
Some
March.
of those people have recovered.
So, yes, and I think we should celebrate the recovery a little more than what we have been, because I think it's important that people know that, hey, people are recovering from this. Out of the 250 we have in Calhoun County, we have about 40 active cases out of 112,000 people. Now, I'm not diminishing that, but that's what we have that we know of, not total, but that we know of, and we need to celebrate some that, hey, you can survive this, you can, if you get it, it's not the end of the world. You know, things you need to do to take care of yourself and not spread it, but at the same time, you know, it's not necessarily a death sentence. And so I just think we should let people know that there are people recovering from it.
Yeah. And Calhoun County, for whatever reasons, has been fortunate. Our numbers are a lot smaller than most places with our population size. So either we've been extremely fortunate or we've done a pretty good job protecting ourselves and each other, or a combination of the two. But we've also seen other communities where they did all right for a while, like we have, and then things changed. So we need to be prepared for that.
We need to be prepared for it. Like I said, you need to do the things that you need to do to protect yourself. Whether it's the flu or the COVID, you know, if you need to take those precautions. If you're sick, don't go around people. You know, for goodness sake, if you're sick, don't go to work. You know, the government passed a law that started on April the 1st. If you got COVID symptoms, your employer has to pay you for 2 weeks. So don't go to work sick, thinking that you're not going to be able to get paid. There are options out there for us that have been made available by our government to help take care of us. And the whole purpose of that is not to go to work sick and not to spread the virus. So, you know, that's one of the biggest things that I see people doing. Well, I had a little fever. I don't think it's the COVID or anything, but you know, I just don't feel kind of well. If you don't feel well, don't go to work. Don't go to Walmart. Don't get somebody to go for you. You know, so do your part on that. That's very important. You know, if you feel ill, not to go out.
And of course, there are going to be a lot of people wanting to go out and congregate together with the 4th of July coming up this weekend. We need to take a break here for a second. But I want to talk about the celebrations and how that might be a little bit different this year under the circumstances when we come back on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, here we go with the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Alyssa Bond of Heflin is wanted on a probation violation for burglary, 3rd degree. Kelvin Caver of Anniston wanted for failure to pay, burglary, 3rd degree. Samuel Saffold of Anniston wanted for failure to pay, distribution of a controlled substance. Joseph Silva of Jacksonville wanted on a probation violation, domestic violence, 1st degree. Nathaniel Davis of Piedmont wanted on a SORNA violation, that's the Sex Offender Registration Notification Act, and probation violation for child abuse and SORNA violation. Victor Hedden of Baileyton is wanted on a probation violation for attempted possession of controlled substance. Again, the number to call if you have any information about these individuals is 256-236-6600. All right, we'll talk about some property crimes in a few minutes and see if you might have some information to help us solve some of those crimes. But right now we're talking about the upcoming celebrations. We got the 4th of July on Saturday. Happy birthday, America.
Absolutely. You know, it's a big long weekend. I think it's actually on Saturday. So people will probably be celebrating Friday and Monday as well. So.
It may not be the best birthday party that America has ever seen, but we've still got a lot more ahead of us, I believe, and there will be plenty to celebrate. We just need to be sure that we celebrate safely this time, or every year, but especially this year.
You know, 4th of July is definitely a dangerous holiday. There's a lot of people on the roads that drink and drive, unfortunately. Deputies and state troopers and law enforcement will be out all weekend long looking for those people, so please don't drink and drive. It's not worth your freedom or your life or the life of one of your loved ones or somebody else. Mm-hmm. So
it's a bad time to get arrested too, isn't it? Because you end up spending a little bit more time.
Yes, you know, and here's the thing, you come to jail, you don't know what you're being exposed to because it's a place with a lot of people in it. So, you know, just don't drink and drive, be safe. You know, boating is a big thing on the 4th of July, and there's always seems to be some boating accidents where somebody loses their life. So 4th of July can be a dangerous time, and we just want everybody to celebrate responsibly, and that includes, you know, all the things we've always talked about responsibly, but now you add to the COVID, the social distancing and things of that nature. So don't let your guard down.
With the change, with the COVID-19, we've had some cancellations of some fireworks shows. Oxford Lake, they're still going to have their Freedom Festival
during the day.
They're going to have some things going on there, but they're not going to do the fireworks at Oxford Lake this year. I believe Jacksonville, last I heard, was still planning to do their fireworks show. With that happening, those changes, do you think maybe shows like Jacksonville, since other shows are getting canceled, shows that typically have a little bit smaller turnout, maybe have a bigger crowd than they anticipated?
I bet they do. You know, it's just anybody's guess, but I bet they do. Jacksonville's a very nice city, and Oxford is doing what they think is best for people, because I saw their post on social media where it says they don't have 30 to 40,000 people at Oxford Lake to watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, that's just a whole lot of people at some point. There'd be numerous people there that would be infected and didn't know it. So they're probably making the right decision on that. I know it's heartbreaking for some, but I bet Jacksonville will have probably a lot more than they were anticipating.
Another thing I anticipate happening is, since we don't have the big organized fireworks, you may have more people than usual purchasing fireworks to do their own celebration, and maybe even some people that haven't done that in the past, so don't have as much experience with the fireworks.
That's true. And also, you know, somebody was asking me about the difference between city law enforcement and county law enforcement. County law enforcement doesn't have the options to do city ordinances. The city of ordinance in Anniston or Jacksonville may not allow for fireworks. But in the county, unincorporated areas of Calhoun County, there's no laws against fireworks. So we'll get a lot of calls about, so, you know, my neighbor's shooting fireworks, and unless they're doing something that's harming your property or being dangerous, you know, they can do that. You know, people call us about shooting guns a lot of times. We had a guy call yesterday about somebody, he heard 3 gunshots. He lives in a very rural portion of the county. People shoot their guns. It's not illegal, as long as, once again, it's not dangerous or doing it in a manner to harm somebody else or in a direction to harm somebody else. There's really nothing we can do. But fireworks will probably abound, and law enforcement will get a lot of calls about those. Just be safe. Don't do nothing that's going to hurt anybody else. And, you know, fireworks are dangerous.
Yeah. So, please, if that's your plan for this 4th, please be very careful with those. They can hurt other people. They can hurt you. So we want to celebrate and have a great birthday party for America. We want to let off a little steam, because we've all had it kind of building up.
Yes.
We've all got some extra stress this year, but there are ways that we can do that without endangering ourselves and others.
Absolutely, and I hope people have a good time and let off some of that stress, and while doing it, love each other in the process. You know, we need some healing in our country, and I pray for that every day.
All right, well, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll have our Crazy Criminal of the Week, and also some property crimes that hopefully you can help us solve. All right, let's take a look at some property crimes committed recently in Calhoun County. If you have any information about these crimes, please call the Sheriff's Office at 256-236-6600. On June 22nd, a report was filed for a burglary on Peaks Hill Road in Ohatchee. A Lane Hope chest was stolen. On June 23rd, a citizen attempted to purchase a jet ski online. The seller described it with only 200 hours on it, and because she was going into the Army, she needed to sell it. Our citizen was instructed to purchase eBay gift cards to pay for the jet ski. The transaction was completed when the citizen gave the card numbers to the seller. The citizen has not heard back from the seller. On June 24th, another citizen was contacted by someone they believed to be a grandchild. This person stated he was incarcerated at a jail in New York City for a DUI charge and hitting a pregnant woman. Another well-spoken person who identified themselves as an attorney stated a large amount of money was needed to bail the grandson out. This attorney asked that cash be mailed through UPS to an address in New York. It is against UPS regulations to mail cash currency. Between June 27th and June 28th, 2 bicycles were stolen from a residence located on White Plains Road in Anniston. The bikes are described as a green and yellow 10-speed Huffy mountain bike and a red and black Next bicycle. If you have information about these crimes or any other crimes in Calhoun County, please call the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office at 256-236-6600.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
All right, so Sheriff, people steal a lot of things. One of the things that gets stolen repeatedly is people's license tags on their vehicles.
That happens.
Individual had the license tag stolen off of his Dakota truck, and he called 911 to report the crime, but they didn't send anybody out for that. So he went down to the DMV to get a new tag. They wouldn't give him a new tag until he got a police officer to sign off that his tag had been stolen, or that he had at least reported it stolen.
And that's why people get mad at the government.
So he puts this note on the back of his truck saying, hey, don't pull me over. Or actually, he is saying, do pull me over. He wants them to pull him over so that he can get him to sign the paperwork so he can get his new tag.
That's the kind of stuff that we got to fix in America. Just, on a serious note, good grief, help the man, That's what we're here for. Help that poor man. Tell him to call me, I'll sign it for him.
Okay. I drive that truck all the way down here to Alabama from where was I can't remember, Missouri or somewhere. I would look at the tag, but it wasn't there, so we can't use that. All right, well, that's all the time that we've got for this week. We will be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.